YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montez and you're watching my YouTube channel, The Teenage Movie Critic, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, everybody. I'm so excited to have you all back together again, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a review for Episode 2, Season 2 of Loki, and I actually have a lot to say about this episode, so let's go ahead and get started talking about Episode 2 of Season 2 of Loki. And once again, I just thought this was a great episode where it doesn't waste any time. It sets up things, and the story of the episode is pretty clear as it kicks off and you have Loki and Mobius going to this alternate version of 1977 where they're trying to find a variant who is X5, which I believe was the variant that they were talking to in episode 1 of season 2. And you see that this Minuteman guy, he decided to quit the TVA and decided to live his own life on the sacred timeline. And so they bring him back, and there's also like fun little things of Loki using his powers, so he like makes shadows and stuff. It's a nice way to use his powers in an interesting way. The other thing I loved about, and then they're trying to find out why was he on the sacred timeline, where is Sylvie, and what's going on. And to talk about the thing I love about this episode, I love the tension where it makes you feel like everything, like it just has all these long moments where you're able to just sit through it, where you get the scene where Loki, Mobius, and 100B15 are interrogating this guy, and Loki says there are lives at stake. And this guy, he's read, and if you, not only this guy read his file, but we know who Loki is. I mean, we started out him with invading the whole city of New York with an army of aliens, and now he's on the side and saying there are lives at stake. And you got this TVA agent, ex-TVA agent, who is saying all this terrible stuff, saying, all you do is make everything worse. You are a villain. You are all of this, and then he mentions, like, you make everything worse for Mobius, you make everything worse for 100B15, you make everything worse for your mother, and this guy's saying all this, and you think Loki's gonna snap. Like, you think this is not gonna go well. Loki's gonna kill this guy. We know this. And then he says this speech, and you think he's gonna snap, but somehow he doesn't. Because I think you can kind of tell that throughout this series, he's learned. And I actually kind of like the way they did this story. And then Mobius is like, look, how about this? You tell us where Sylvie is and tell us what we need, and then we'll send you back to the sacred timeline. And then the guy is just, he's not giving up. He's just bringing these people down and basically saying, Mobius, that's not even your real name. Haven't you seen what your life is like on the actual timeline? Like, who are you actually? And when this guy says this, and then you get the conversation with him and Loki when they're eating key lime pie, it makes you, and it turns out Mobius is the one that actually snaps and calling him a nowhere man, and you need to wake up because you are in a fake reality. And all this, and it makes you wonder, has he not actually seen what his life is like on the sacred timeline? Or has he done it already and he doesn't want to talk about it because he knows it's something bad? Or he probably knows that he probably died. Who knows? I'm curious to see what that's all about. But the other couple things I love about this episode, I just love scenes of Loki just talking. Where, and even another part of the tension is, you get to this episode, the second part of the interrogation, where they get this, like, machine thing, and Loki's just going all at it, and he's, like, squeezing things together, and they're, like, trying to find a new way to get him, and it's an interesting way. So then, another interesting thing I like about this episode is just Loki and Mobius talking. Like, the whole key lime pie scene is so great. And that's part of the, like, one of my favorite things about Secret Invasion was the relationship between Talos and Nick Fury. Obviously, we couldn't get much of it because Talos dies in episode 4, but that's what makes it so interesting. And I kind of wish that show could have been just an action show filled with alien tech and stuff in the MCU, and it could have been something interesting, but we didn't get that, unfortunately. With this show, it just really proves that, and I love it. Tom Hiddleston and Loki and Owen Wilson have great chemistry together. And then the other thing I loved about this episode was just the usage of the way, and really the way that they're using more of the characters. As really ever since season 1, we've seen Hunt B-15 be involved more in the story, as she's kind of the one helping out more. And not only that, we get to see Casey be involved in more of the story, as he's kind of part of the team now. And then you also get to see Obi be part of the team, as in this episode, he's more established as the guy that Loki and Mobius go to when they need help on something. And so I found a lot of that stuff interesting. A few more other details. I also love the stuff they explored with Sylvie, that she because she's been on the run, she just wants to live her life, so she goes and works for McDonald's, since everybody goes there and lives happily. So I thought it was a nice thing. And so as the episode ends, they're basically, all the TVA agents are like setting off these bombs across the sacred timeline, blowing these timelines up, trying to find Sylvie. And it's pretty sad stuff. I'm not the biggest fan of it, which we'll talk about in the bad, but I like the way that it's probably going to set up episode 3, and the reason why Loki and Mobius are going to this place with Victor Timely to fix the temporal aura. So I'm excited to see that. I'm pretty sure that's what episode 3 is going to be, but that's what I think. Now, let's talk about the bad. Now, I don't have many issues with this episode. The only issue I really have is you set this stage of basically destroying all these little timelines, these branches, and killing all of them. I kind of feel like this would have been, like, this should have been the main cause as to what is the main threat we're dealing with here, to protect the sacred timeline, to not make it close to the multiverse saga. How do you make it its own story? You're trying to prevent them destroying these other branches. I feel like that would have been a more interesting story, and that would have been the finale for episode 6. But unfortunately, that's not what it is. But I'm liking the way it's going to play in episode 3, as they're bringing Victor Timely. They're bringing in Victor Timely to fix the temporal aura. So I'm excited for that. Besides that, I have no issues with this episode. This was a overall great episode. I loved it, and I'm overall really liking this season. And this is definitely one of the best MCU projects, really, since Guardians, I have to say. So that's my thoughts on Loki Season 2, Episode 2. Before I get my final score, be sure to comment down below. What are your thoughts on this episode of the second episode of Season 2 of Loki? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate? What you mean? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. With that said, let's get on my scores. Alright, so that's it for my scores, but we're not done here yet. One more thing to do for you in this video, and that's to talk about the theories I have for the future of this show. Now, I don't really have any big theories. Obviously, I think Victor Timely will be the one to fix the temporal aura, but something will probably happen because I guess all Kane variants are going to be bad. But the big one I have is I heard someone that, because Loki, I think the reason why Ravonna Renslayer, because she's working with Kang or He Who Remains, my theory is, what if the reason why Mobius didn't want to do this is because she knows how everything plays out, And so she knows that Hero Mates is going to come, these villains are going to come, and so my theory is Loki will be the one to take over the TVA, and the first thing he's going to do is try to put a team of heroes together, and that's the Avengers. But he realized there's more out there that can help. So maybe Loki will actually end up leading the TVA and basically going to other different timelines to assemble heroes across the multiverse. Though it'll be tricky because people won't trust him. That's going to be something interesting, as he's the first Avengers villain. Like the big guy that sent an army down to New York is asking heroes for help to save the multiverse. That's going to be an interesting story there. But that's my theories. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the about section over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.